Welcome everyone to the Meet the Faculty and Programs for STEM. We are fortunate to have representation from many of our STEM divisions, so I'm really excited about that. And we're going to be having an informal conversation, just asking them a few questions. And then at the end, we'll leave some time for student questions. If you guys have any particular questions you would like to ask the whole group or individual people from a particular division. And we'll do that at the end if that's cool with everyone. So today is our virtual path day, and we're doing for both STEM and business economics and data analytics. We have our STEM faculty and programs. So Jason, if it's cool with you, you're at the top of my screen. We're going to start with you if that's all right.
Okay, sounds good.
So what courses do you teach right now or have you taught?
Well, so right now I'm teaching 5 different classes. I'm teaching an intermediate or college algebra. I'm teaching trigonometry. I'm teaching quantitative business analysis. Now, I'm teaching the second part of that course. That's a 2-part course. The first part is like a pre-calculus class for business students. And then the second part is like a differential calculus class. So I taught the first part in the fall, and then I'm teaching the second part now. So I like that because I've got some of the same students. I'm also teaching Calc 2 and Calc 3, and I see I've got one of my Calc 3 students on with us. So good to see you, Nick. And then in the past, I've taught other courses. I've taught statistics. I've taught liberal arts math. I've taught introduction to college math. I've taught our developmental classes, which obviously go from arithmetic to sort of like a pre-algebra and then to an algebra 1 level type of class. So our developmental emporium kind of covers all of that. So that's what I'm doing now, and that's what I have done in the past.
So pretty much Jason's taught a lot of the math department classes.
I think the only one I haven't taught is the business math that you teach.
Yeah. What programs are your courses part of?
So I was thinking about this beforehand because I wrote up some answers, just kind of a cheat sheet for myself. And the broad answer is almost everybody, because look, the fact of the matter is most degree students are going to take at least one math class. So then I tried to start thinking about, okay, what about the more math intensive majors? The first one that comes to mind is engineering, because you're really going to take all 3 calculus classes as well as advanced engineering math, which is sort of like differential equations, complex variables, and some linear algebra all together. So I guess how many classes you take in engineering depends on where you start. A lot of people start with college algebra, trig, or pre-calc, and then work their way up. I was thinking about other majors where you might take multiple math classes, and business comes to mind because obviously you're going to take quantitative business analysis 1 and 2, which, as I said, is like pre-calc and differential calculus for business students. And then, of course, the various science majors, so chemistry, biology, physics, computer science. You're going to take, in some cases, you'll take calculus, but I think at the very least, in a lot of those, you'll take either trig or pre-calc. And sometimes if you're going in the direction of computer science, you might actually take liberal arts math, because obviously in that class, you deal with things like resolving arguments and truth tables and Euler diagrams. And while it might not seem applicable to computer science, the way of thinking kind of goes into that area. So it's kind of a broad answer. So I hope that kind of nails it down a little bit for you.
Yep. What has drawn you to this field?
Well, so not to get myself into trouble, but in the era of fake news, I love that math is truth. You solve a math problem, and the fact of the matter is you get a solution. Now, sometimes you can get multiple solutions, but we won't get too far into the weeds. But the thing I like about math is you solve a problem, you get a solution, and you can prove that it's true. Okay, nobody can say fake news on it. You can prove that it's true. And it's in nature. I had a professor when I was in college at URI, and he always said, it was Professor Lattice, who is now retired. He said, if aliens from another galaxy came to visit, they wouldn't understand English, but they would understand that e to the I pi equals -1. And I'll leave those of you on here to figure out what that means.
All right. And the last one, what kind of students excel in your field?
Sure. So a lot of students actually excel in the field, and I hesitate to break it down into any groups because I think anybody can excel in the field if they're willing to put the work in. Part of my philosophy is that we as a society should get away from saying, I'm not good at math, because we would never say we're not good at reading or writing. So I think we have to have a can-do attitude. I think almost everybody can do the basics. And then if you're willing to remember the basics, you can learn the advanced stuff. Think of it like this. If you want to play a game, whether it be a physical activity or you want to play chess or, poker, you have to learn the rules first. Once you learn the rules, you can play the game. So I would say anybody who is willing to learn the rules can do well in the subject. Of course, it does require some work. And the last thing I would say about it is, and a lot of people don't think this way about mathematics, but it's actually a creative discipline. When you get into the more advanced level math classes, you'll find that you're presented with a problem and you have to, it's not like in basic algebra where you have an equation and you just move some stuff around to solve for X, but you have an advanced level problem. You have to strategize how you're gonna solve it. And I liken it to being lost in the woods and you have 4 different paths. And let's suppose 3 of them just go around in a circle, but one of them takes you out of the woods. Unless you explore those paths, you're never gonna find your way out of the woods. So you have to be creative and you have to be willing to kind of go down the rabbit hole and just understand that you're occasionally going to hit a dead end. That doesn't mean you can't solve the problem. It just means you have to go back and start from scratch.
Those were great answers. John, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what department you're on and what courses do you teach?
Yep, I'm John Mowry. I'm now in the computer studies department. I've been in 3 different departments over the years, industrial technology, then engineering, and I'm like the bad penny, they keep moving me around. But mainly what I teach now is computer networking, network security, computer applications, many of the things that revolve around computers, computer systems, how computers talk to one another, and now more than anything else, the security involved. Which has become a great field.
Awesome. What programs are your courses part of?
The courses that I teach are part of the networking degree, the advanced networking degree. It's also part of the cybersecurity degree, and some general computer degrees, because they all have to have some version of networking in those.
What has drawn you to this field or any of the fields you're interested in?
Well, I first started teaching here in electronics, and I was actually one of the first ones to actually buy a personal computer at the college. Yeah, when I started, there were no personal computers. I know I'm ancient, but I just found it very, very interesting. And as technology progressed, I saw that computers were going to be where it was at. And it was an interest of mine. And then, 22 years ago, I actually started looking into the security of computers at that point. So I kind of evolved right with the whole computer generation.
That's awesome. What kind of students excel in your field, John?
Pretty much any student, as long as they want to apply themselves. Like one of the best examples that has happened in the last year, one of my students that had graduated about 5 years ago, and when he was my student, he could have been an A student, but he was like a B student because he was playing like 35 hours a week of online games. And I took him aside one day and I said, you know, Kyle, sooner or later, you're going to have to put a roof over your head and you're going to have to put food on your table. I said, online games isn't doing this. And so he applied himself. He says, you know, I think you're right. And he started applying himself very much. And he was working for a company down in Exeter. And just as the whole lockdown, they let him go because they didn't want to hear the truth of what they were doing as far as management, but that's another story. And he got picked up by a company in Southern Mass, and he's working now as an engineer for Verizon. And as he told me the story, the hiring manager called him and said, I want to make you this offer over the phone. So we're talking 4 years out of the school with only the associate's degree. And they started him out at that company at $112,000. Yeah.
I think I'm in the wrong field.
Yeah. So, and years ago, we had a lady that came in and she had just gotten divorced and had a 5-year-old daughter. And she went into another one of our programs at the time, instrumentation, and she kept saying to us, do you really think I can do this? And we kept saying, Dot, you know, you're going to be tremendous at this. And she applied herself, and she was. And she eventually became a vice president of Foxborough Corporation, making like $500,000 a year.
Wow.
So anybody can succeed at this. You just have to put in the effort. And that's what I tell my students all the time. You know, is it easy that you're going to fall out of bed in the morning and become a network security engineer? No, it's not. But you put in the time and you put in the effort and the results are there.
Thank you so much. I love those stories about former students. So Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone what department you're from?
Sure. Hello, I am Amanda Petrus. I am in the chemistry department here. Yeah.
And what courses do you teach currently or have you taught?
I have taught a wide variety, basically anything in the introductory or the bio-organic area of chemistry I've taught. So here at CCRI, I teach chemistry of our environment, which is an introductory non-majors level. And then I teach I can't talk today. Let's see. Then I teach survey of biomedical chemistry, which is an overview for people in the medical fields where you get a little bit of general chemistry, organic chemistry, and biochemistry. I also teach general chemistry here, which would be for like science majors, engineers, biology majors, chemistry majors. And then I teach organic chemistry, which is the class that all pre-meds fear and tremble before. And then at other schools, I have also taught nutritional chemistry and like full semester biochemistry courses.
You touched a little bit on the programs your courses are part of. Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
Yeah, actually chemistry is, it's called the central science. So it's kind of got its tendrils out in almost every field. The great part is you can apply it to pretty much any field, you know. If you're dealing with art, there's chemistry in all of the paints, and you could, you know, art history and chemistry meet in the field of art restoration. And then medicine and chemistry meet in terms of medications and metabolism, right? Engineers can have a solid idea of chemistry for materials and that kind of thing. So it's pretty much any field that you're in. Even business has great applications with chemistry. I know some people that have gotten degrees in both business and chemistry, or they've gotten a degree in one and gotten a background in another, and they go on to consulting, that kind of thing. So it's pretty versatile.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
What has drawn you to this field that you're currently teaching?
The fact that it's everywhere definitely piques my curiosity, right? Kind of like I said, you can get it involved in every single topic. And we are chemistry, right? So we are made of atoms and molecules and all that stuff. And we have organized into these complicated life forms that have consciousness and think. And we are learning about ourselves. So we are matter that is learning about itself. And so it blows me away every time I teach a class that I'm a big chunk of matter that has become self-aware and is teaching other chunks of matter about the matter inside of them. That's what I
like that. That was really very clever.
Yeah.
What kind of students excel in your field?
You've got to put the effort in. You know, it's definitely, it can be a bit abstract at times, and there is math. So math anxiety does hit a lot of people. But if you're very persistent and you just keep trying, you know, you'll get through it. I myself wasn't the strongest in terms of grades. You know, like I was a C student, but I ended up doing really well when I got into chemical research. And there are actually a lot of studies where C students do very well in the fields of applied sciences because they're used to having to be persistent, starting over, trying again. So if you can be persistent, keep showing up, you know, fall down 7 times, but stand up 8, you'll do well in the field. And I mean, that sounds abusive and horrible, but it's, it can be rewarding too, because, you know, once you like, there's a lot of moments in chemistry where you don't get it, you don't get it, you don't get it, and you push through it, and then that moment happens and it clicks and everything opens up in your head. And that in a way is a really powerful feeling. You know, so pretty much anybody that can be persistent and anybody that gets really curious, I think can do well in the field.
Sounds like a common theme with all our divisions so far.
Yeah, I've loved hearing that from everybody.
I know. And Kristen, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what department you're in? What courses do you teach? Thank you, Amanda. Kristen, I think you might be on mute.
Cool. All right, here I am. So I'm Kristen Smithers. I'm over in biology. I teach the general bio, so cell bio, organismal bio, and I also teach the microbiology courses.
Awesome. What programs are your courses part of?
So over in biology, we have an associate's degree in biology, so all those would fill requirements for that. And we also have a biotech certificate, so like the cell bio class would fill in for the biotech certificate. And then any of these classes are required for like a full bio, like a 4-year biology degree, pre-med degree, physician's assistant degree, any of the allied health too, sciences. So like microbiology is a prereq for like the nursing, dental hygiene, you know, things like that.
Awesome. What has drawn you to this field?
So let's see, actually, it probably for me, it started in high school. I had a really amazing biology teacher who did like a lot of outside the curriculum kind of stuff with actually microbiology. And so I kind of started my love for that in high school. And then just as I went through undergrad, was able to take a lot more classes in that and really found those little bacteria, viruses, really interesting how these things are so small and they can like almost pretty much control the world. So I just kept going with that. And then I did some research for my PhD. And then I'm here I am today.
Awesome. What kind of students excel in your field?
So probably just like everybody else said, the students, anybody can excel in the field. It's the students who are gonna come, show up, do the work, put the effort in. It's not always easy, like everyone else has already said, but as long as you keep pushing through and persevering, you're definitely going to be able to get through any of these courses.
Awesome. So what I would like to do now is open it up for questions. If you have a general question for everyone or a specific one of the divisions, feel free to unmute yourself. Rebecca, Antone, or Nick, you guys have any questions? The field is yours, or you guys feel free to ask.
Well, my name's Antona. I'm in computer science. I was wondering if any of you have students, like if you guys think that your students are able to get jobs with their associates, or if a lot of times they the job that they want, they have to get a bachelor's degree or do some more training in order to actually get the jobs that they're looking for.
Sean, do you want to take on that one?
Yeah. Many of the students now, are you in directly in computer science, or what actual program are you in?
Yeah, I'm in programming and general information, I think.
Okay, yeah. What we're finding is most of our students are in very high demand. The main thing, the ones that aren't getting hired are the ones that don't know how to sell themselves. You have to go out and convince the companies that you're going to make them money. As far as studying, you get in the door with the associate's degree. Let the companies pay for you to go on for the bachelor's or a master's or whatnot. What you want to do is you definitely want to get the degree, because you're showing to the company that you know how to learn. And as you probably have learned already in the computer field, it's changing every day. And what we learned a month ago may not be what's going to be around next month. So it's one of those fields that we have to keep learning. And that's what the companies really want to see. But I know that many of my students, they're getting hired before they actually finish the degree. And I have to keep on them saying, finish the degree so that the company knows that you know how to learn. And that's one of the key things. A good friend of mine has a PhD from Brown in psychology and has decided to go into the computer field, but he doesn't sell himself. And so he says, why don't the companies want me? Because obviously he's very smart. You have to go in, you have to be positive. I know this material, and convince them that you know the material and that you're going to be a productive employee for them. And that's one of the big keys of almost any field when dealing with companies.
Thank you, John. What other questions? Do you have any more questions on tonight, or Rebecca? And Rebecca, I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a question for Amanda, because I really like her teaching style. And I wonder, how do you encourage students who are not confident enough? Because I know confidence is very important in chemistry or even other fields, but I wonder, because I'm new in teaching, so.
Okay.
Oh my God, are you young?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I saw Rebecca.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry about that, because I don't know how to change my name in Zoom. I'm Rongfang Yang. You can call me Yang at school, but you can call me Rebecca at home, out of school.
Okay, can I go through the interview questions with you? I apologize.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so do you want to introduce yourself and the department that you're from?
Okay. So hi everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Rongfang Yang from chemistry department. You can call me Yang at school, but out of school you can call me Rebecca. And I'm sorry about the confusion. I don't know how to change my name in Zoom. I'll learn about that later.
That's okay. We can help you with that later too, and I apologize. What courses do you currently teach?
I teach chemistry of our environment. That's a introductory entry-level course for non-major students. This course focuses on some basic practical principles of chemistry and some practical applications in our everyday lives. I also teach basic skills for chemistry. That's a prerequisite course for general chemistry. Sometimes I also teach lab sections for organic chemistry with Amanda, which is very interesting. That's all.
What programs are your courses part of? Is there anything you want to add to what Amanda brought up earlier?
No, I think that's all our courses have hands-on labs, so that's part of the general education like that.
Okay, and what has drawn you to this field?
Oh, so for me, chemistry is not just a career, it's my dream. I enjoy the process of designing and synthesizing new products. These products could be some material that can be used to build rockets, or new medicine that can cure cancer, or just some common substance that can make us healthier and happier. So learning chemistry, you can actually change the world. At least you can say, I synthesized a new product that does exist before, and you can name that compound. I'm also passionate about sharing my knowledge and introducing new learners to the magical world of chemistry. So here I am.
Awesome. And what kind of students excel in your field?
I do like the can-do attitude that Jason mentioned, because to succeed in chemistry, students have to get rid of the preconceived notion about difficulty of chemistry, because you just need to keep curious about how this world works, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And the most important thing is you have to be willing to work, stay on track with your professor and classmates, and keep up with your assignments. It's easy.
Very good advice. Sorry about that. Antone, did you have any other questions that you wanted to ask? Any of the particular people?
No. Oh, I do have another question to Kristen, because I love biology, but that's too difficult for me. I wonder what's your favorite part about it? I know there are many terms. I can never remember them.
That's one of the tricky things about biology. There's about 3 different things to call everything in biology, so it gets kind of tricky. When I teach, I try to point out the different ways to the different names for everything, because a lot of the times, when I went through undergrad, you learn it one way in somebody's class, then you learn it a different way in somebody else's class, and it takes you a while to realize, oh wait, I'm learning the same thing, but it sounds different. So I try to really focus on talking about every single way to talk about one thing. I don't know. So the question was, why do I like biology?
Your favorite part about biology?
Oh, so I like the microbiology end of it. So the little bacteria, the little viruses that are out there, those little bacteria. If you think about pathogens, right? The ones that make us sick, like COVID, and I guess COVID's the only one that pops in my head because that's the only thing we talk about these days, right?
Right.
But it's just amazing that these little microscopic things can bring us to our knees, right? Can make us so sick, and they're just so little, but they're so little and they seem like they shouldn't be doing much, right? But they figured out how to hijack our bodies, our cells, and use them to their own advantage. I think that's just so neat how these little things have figured out how to do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I just talked to Amanda about how to encourage students. I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, thanks for bringing that back up again. And also, thank you for the compliment. It's a real honor to have a colleague, say that. So I appreciate that. In terms of building confidence with students, I acknowledge right away that a lot of people find chemistry terrifying and math terrifying. So I don't just say, oh, it's easy, any, blah, blah, blah. I say, yeah, this feels hard, this feels terrifying, but we're going to slug through it, right? And I also tell them about things that I struggled with. I failed 2 courses in my degree and I had to repeat them. So I tell them, I've failed things. So I'm here with you. I understand that. And I think the biggest thing that you can do with a student is sit with them when they don't know something and make them feel comfortable with that. It's hard to do in the classroom. You can a bit if you're answering questions out loud or doing problems on the board, but I think it really comes up in office hours when those students, or lab time, when you can get one-on-one with anybody that's reaching out to you. If you really sit with them while they're struggling through it and help them with the discomfort, then they get stronger and they start to work more through that. And I think I've noticed a huge thing, like just having someone tell them that they're smart, they got that. I've had students whose entire body posture has changed just by saying, oh, see, you did that. You're really smart. You're doing a lot better than you were last week, or you're the only person that got that question right on the test, and you can see the physical change in them. So those are my quick tips. Yeah.
I agree with you, Amanda. I always have, as Jason mentioned earlier, every time I tell someone I teach in the math department, I get oh man, that must be tough, or man, I'm not into math. And I get the students that come in telling me that, and I say, leave all your past experiences at the door, because we haven't met each other yet. If you connect with one good teacher, it can turn around your whole dislike of a particular subject. And in particular, math, that I've had people like, oh my God, I'm doing so well now. And I'm like, it's all you. It's not me. You just in your head, or like you had all these bad experiences in the past, and you have to forget about that. You're a completely new person when you're going into a class for the first time, and you'd be surprised how much just a change in attitude will help in any class, not just math.
That's a really good point you made, Cassandra, to tell them you did this, because so often they're like, I was never good at this until I had you as a teacher. And it's like, no, but you wouldn't have gotten this grade if you hadn't done it. So
I call myself their cheerleader. I'm not the one. I'm not doing the acrobatics for them. They're doing it. I'm just their cheerleader. I'm rooting them on. So really important to know that too. So
just to add something to this conversation, because I think it's really interesting. I've made the analogy to some of my students before that learning math, and obviously, other subjects like chemistry, biology, computer science, physics, I liken it to training for a run. Suppose you're running, a marathon, and suppose there are some hills. You're going to start training like a year beforehand. Now, if there's a really steep hill, probably the first training run you do, you're not going to run straight up that hill. Maybe you're going to start by running on some flat ground, and then you're going to find some small hills to run up. And then you're going to find some bigger hills, and maybe you're going to walk up them first. And then gradually you're going to get to the point where you can actually run that marathon. Coming back to an earlier question, I just wanted to mention it because it sort of just popped up because it came up in conversation with a colleague just the other day. But the question was raised about, have you had any students that have had success after they've come through your class? And I can say that one student that sticks out in my mind, because he came through my pre-calculus class, and then a colleague of mine, Professor Linton, had him for calculus. He now works at NASA, and that was his dream job. He was taking a lot of math because he was a physics major, and he's now doing his dream job at NASA. And I'm pretty sure when they landed that rover on Mars a few weeks ago, I'm pretty sure he was probably working on that somewhere in the background.
Wow, that's awesome.
I think one of the other things I always try, I take a genuine interest in all of my students. Where did they come from? How did they get there? And I like my classroom to be very free and open, that they can ask me anything, because when I was in college, I had a lot of professors that they came in, they read from the book, and then they were out the door, and we could have had a robot in the front of the room. I like the fact that they bring in life experiences, and I talk about some of my life experiences, being in the arcade business for 41 years, and bringing a lot of that stuff in, because I think a lot of the subjects that we teach, many people don't see the applications of these things in their lives. Where I had a student many years ago who came in, and I asked him, you know, what are you interested in? And he said, basketball. I said, well, how can we apply this to basketball? And some of the Networking Academy students in New York wired the entire Javits Center for the NBA Finals. So they were right there for the finals, you know, met all the players, met everybody. And, you know, bringing in the part that, okay, this does have an application besides just going into work, that you can have fun with all this type of thing if you have an interest in it.
Good points, John. Anyone else have anything else to share or any questions? So what I'm going to do is share. This is kind of our thank you for joining us. Thank you for all our faculty for giving up their time on a Friday to come join us to talk about their classes, what made them go into their fields, and what kind of students are excel in their fields. For more Path Day sessions, please visit the ccri.edu/pathways/Path Days website. And I also want to mention that we have a spring 2021 virtual job fair coming up, hosted on Handshake on April 14th between 1 and 4 p.m. And you can get more information on the CCRI webpage along with the Career Services website at the bottom. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a lovely weekend.